Arya yanked her arm from Maxwell's grip, her defiance flaring despite the fear curling in her chest. "What have you done to him?" she demanded, her voice trembling. Maxwell smirked, his expression infuriatingly calm. "Let's just say Elias won't be meddling in matters that don't concern him anymore. You should be thanking me, Arya. He's not your kind, not your future. I am." His words ignited a fire in her. She took a step back, narrowing her eyes. "You think I would ever marry someone as vile as you?" Maxwell's smile faltered and his tone turned icy. "Your father made a deal, Arya. You don't have a choice in this." "I always have a choice," she shot back, lifting her chin. At that moment, the chapel doors creaked open. Maxwell turned sharply, his hand instinctively reaching for the dagger at his hip. In the doorway stood Mayor Grayson, flanked by 2 guards. "Arya," her father said, his voice low and cold. "You've gone too far this time." Arya's heart sank. "Father, no." His tone was final, his gaze hard as steel. "Enough of this foolishness. You will return home immediately. And Maxwell," he added, his lip curling into a faint sneer, "escort her. I won't tolerate any more disobedience." Maxwell stepped forward, a smug expression settling back on his face. "With pleasure." Arya felt a scream rising in her throat, but she swallowed it down, her mind racing. She couldn't fight both of them here, not now, but she wouldn't give up. As Maxwell reached for her arm, a loud crash sounded from outside the chapel. The guards rushed toward the noise, their weapons drawn. For a moment, the tension in the room splintered, and Arya seized the opportunity. She darted past Maxwell, running toward the open door. "Arya!" her father bellowed, but she didn't stop. Outside, chaos erupted. One of the guards lay unconscious on the ground, and the other was grappling with a shadowed figure, Elias. His clothes were torn, and a bruise darkened his cheek, but his eyes burned with determination. "Elias!" Arya cried, running toward him. He glanced at her briefly, a flicker of relief crossing his face. "Run, Arya!" But before she could reach him, Maxwell grabbed her from behind, pulling her back. "You're not going anywhere," he hissed. Elias wrestled the guard's sword free, but just as he turned to face Maxwell, Mayor Grayson stepped forward, his pistol raised and aimed at Elias's chest. "Let her go," Elias growled. Mayor Grayson's reply was cold and calculated. "Take one more step, and I'll end this rebellion for good." The moon hung heavy over the town as Arya's cries echoed through the chapel grounds. "Father, stop this," she pleaded, her voice breaking. Mayor Grayson's finger tightened on the trigger, his eyes never leaving Elias. "This boy has no place here, Arya. No place with you. If you refuse to see reason, I'll make sure he never crosses your path again." Elias held his ground, his jaw tight. "You think you can control everyone, but you're wrong. Arya isn't yours to command." The words seemed to strike a nerve. Mayor Grayson's face darkened, and for a terrible moment, Arya thought he might actually pull the trigger. But then, from the shadows, a new voice cut through the tension. "Lower the gun, Grayson." Everyone turned. An older man emerged from the darkness, his weathered face illuminated by the moonlight. It was Elias's father, Samuel Mason, his expression grim. "You have no right to make decisions for my family," Samuel continued, stepping closer. "This isn't your concern, Mason," Mayor Grayson snapped. "Oh, but it is," Samuel said, his tone deadly calm. "You and I both know the truth, Grayson. How this feud started, why you've been so desperate to keep these two apart." Arya's heart pounded. What is he talking about? Her father's face hardened, but Samuel pressed on. "Tell her the truth," Samuel demanded. "Tell her how your greed cost my family everything. How you framed me all those years ago to take control of this town." "Lies," Mayor Grayson spat, though his voice lacked conviction. "Are they?" Samuel retorted. "Your hands aren't clean, Grayson, and now you want to sacrifice your daughter's happiness to protect your precious reputation." Arya stared at her father, her world tilting. "Is this true?" Mayor Grayson faltered, the weight of Samuel's words clearly affecting him. But instead of answering, he turned his fury on Elias. "This doesn't change anything," he snapped. "Arya, come with me now." "No," she said firmly, stepping closer to Elias. "I won't go with you, not after this." Her defiance lit a fire in her father's eyes, but before he could respond, a shout came from the distance. A group of townsfolk appeared, drawn by the commotion. "What's going on here?" one of them demanded. Mayor Grayson hesitated, his grip on his authority slipping as more people arrived. Samuel seized the moment. "Ask your mayor what he's been hiding," he called out. "Ask him how he's been lining his pockets while the rest of you struggle." Murmurs spread through the crowd, and Mayor Grayson's face paled. "Enough of this!" he roared, but his voice no longer carried the same weight. In the chaos, Maxwell lunged at Elias, a dagger glinting in his hand. Arya screamed as the two men struggled, their movements a blur. Then, with a sickening thud, Maxwell fell to the ground, unmoving. Elias stood over him, blood dripping from his own arm, his face pale. "It's over," he said, his voice hollow. But the crowd surged closer, their eyes fixed on Mayor Grayson, demanding answers. The next morning, Ravenshollow was a different town. Mayor Grayson's grip on power had shattered under the weight of Samuel's accusations. His corrupt dealings were exposed, and the townsfolk demanded his resignation. Arya watched from the edge of the square as her father left the town in disgrace, his once proud figure diminished. Part of her ached for the man he had once been, but she knew the man standing beside her, Elias, represented the future she wanted. "Are you sure about this?" Elias asked quietly as they prepared to leave Ravenshollow together. She turned to him, her smile soft but unwavering. "I've never been more sure of anything." Samuel approached them, placing a hand on Elias's shoulder. "Take care of each other," he said, his voice thick with emotion. As they walked toward the edge of the forest, Arya felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time, it was hers. Arya and Elias's love story unfolded against a backdrop of family feuds and hidden betrayals. Their relationship uncovered long-buried truths about Mayor Grayson's corruption and the origins of the feud between their families. With the help of Samuel Mason, the truth came to light, and Mayor Grayson's reign over Ravenshollow ended in disgrace. Though their journey was fraught with danger, Arya and Elias proved that love could transcend even the deepest divides. Their escape marked not just the end of an era for Ravenshollow, but the beginning of a life lived on their own terms, free, together, and unafraid of the shadows of the past. Thanks for tuning in. If you loved what you saw, don't forget to subscribe here if you haven't already. Also, check out our second channel, Reality Love Tales, for more enchanting love stories. Click subscribe and join us for an unforgettable journey. See you there.